Deep in the heart of the wild, where the towering trees whisper secrets and the night comes alive with unsettling sounds, there was a legend that no animal dared to speak of too loudly. It was not about the mighty lion, nor the deadly serpent, nor even the ruthless hyena packs. No. This legend was about something far, far worse. A mouse. Yes, you heard that right. Not just any mouse, the mouse. For generations, the jungle had belonged to the lions. Their deafening roars echoed through the valley, reminding every creature who ruled these lands. But things had changed. The last lion, King Mufaro, had vanished. Some said he was hunted by poachers, others whispered that he had fled in fear. And the whispers always ended the same way, with a chilling phrase. The mouse took him. No one knew how it began or why. But every animal, from the tallest giraffe to the sneakiest snake, knew one thing: you do not cross the mouse. Now, if there was one animal in the jungle who didn't believe in legends, it was Jimmy the hyena. Loud-mouthed, arrogant, and always looking for an easy meal, Jimmy thought he was smarter than everyone. Come on, you seriously believe a tiny rodent runs this jungle? Jimmy laughed, pacing around the watering hole where a group of animals had gathered. This is just some scary bedtime story to keep weaklings like you in check. The warthog, the zebra, and even the vulture exchanged nervous glances. No one wanted to say anything. Not when he might be listening. The warthog, snout trembling, finally spoke. Jimmy, please, lower your voice. If the mouse hears you. Jimmy rolled his eyes. Oh, what's he gonna do? Squeak at me? Maybe chew my tail off? He let out a loud cackle, his laughter echoing into the dark jungle. Silence followed. Too much silence. The jungle never went this quiet. Ever. Even the crickets, usually chattering like old gossiping parrots, had stopped their song. A single leaf drifted to the ground. Then, a tiny pitter-patter. Soft. Almost imperceptible. Something small moved through the shadows. Jimmy stopped laughing. His ears twitched. You hear that? He muttered. No one responded. The warthog was already backing away. The zebra's eyes were darting in every direction, ready to bolt. Jimmy turned around, sniffing the air. Nothing. Ha! He let out another forced laugh. You guys are so. And then he saw it. At the edge of the clearing, bathed in the silver glow of the moon, stood a mouse. Small. Innocent-looking. A twitch of the whiskers. A tiny flick of the tail. Jimmy squinted. Seriously? This is the big bad. The mouse stood up on two legs. That's when the jungle knew. Jimmy had messed up. Jimmy frowned. What the? Before he could finish, the mouse grinned. Not a normal mouse smile. Not a, look at me, I found some cheese, kind of grin. No. This was something else. Teeth too sharp. Eyes too dark. The mouse whistled. A shrill, haunting sound that sliced through the night. The jungle shuddered. The ground beneath Jimmy's paws trembled. Then, without warning, the shadows moved. 100, no, 1,000 tiny mice slithered out from the darkness. They poured from the trees, the ground, the very air. Their eyes gleamed with an unnatural hunger. Jimmy, for once in his life, had nothing to say. He turned to run, but it was too late. The mice swarmed him. The jungle animals could only watch as Jimmy was dragged into the darkness, his screams muffled by the writhing sea of fur and tails. And then, silence. The little mouse remained standing there, its sharp grin unbroken. It turned its head slowly, locking eyes with the other animals. And it whispered, in a voice not meant for mice to have. Who else doesn't believe? Nobody answered. Nobody dared. The jungle was his now. And it always had been. The jungle was never the same after Jimmy the hyena's disappearance. Word spread like wildfire. The mouse was real. And he wasn't just some squeaky little creature. He was something else. Something ancient. Something watching. No one dared to say his name out loud. The zebras stopped grazing too far from the herd. The monkeys, usually the biggest troublemakers, now tiptoed through the trees in absolute silence. Even the lions, those once mighty kings of the jungle, kept their roars soft. Because they all knew. If the mouse heard you, you'd vanish. The resistance. But not everyone was willing to live in fear. In the deepest parts of the jungle, a secret meeting took place. A rebellion. A handful of animals, desperate, terrified, but determined, had gathered in an abandoned cave. Among them were Brutus, the grumpy old lion, who missed the days when he was in charge; Zazu, the nervous parrot, who had seen too much; Manny, the overweight elephant, who accidentally squashed 2 monkeys just by sitting down; Gigi, the feisty meerkat, who swore in 5 different jungle languages; and Bob, the sloth. No one was sure why he was there. He had arrived 3 weeks late. Brutus paced back and forth. This has gone on long enough. We're the ones with claws, teeth, and muscle. How can a mouse control the entire jungle? Zazu flapped his wings nervously. Brutus, please keep your voice down. If he hears... Oh, let him hear. Brutus growled. What's he going to do? Nibble me to death. The cave went silent. Then, a single tiny squeak. From the shadows, Gigi screamed. Oh no, he's here. We're dead. We're all dead. She immediately started digging a hole, presumably to bury herself alive. Manny the elephant fainted. Bob the sloth blinked. 3 minutes later, a tiny shape scurried across the cave floor. A mouse. Brutus froze. Zazu whispered, I told you to keep your voice down. Brutus took a deep breath. No. I refuse to be afraid of a rodent. The mouse stopped, stared at him. Then, it stood up on 2 legs. Brutus took a step back. No. No way. I'm not scared of you. The mouse smiled. Brutus' pupils shrunk. The mouse whistled. The jungle shuddered. And then, the floor disappeared. A hole opened beneath Brutus, as if the ground itself had been waiting for this moment. He didn't even have time to roar before he was gone. Zazu screamed, Run! Manny, still unconscious, rolled onto his side and knocked out half the rebellion. Bob moved 2 inches. The rest of the animals fled. But the message was clear. There was no resistance. There was only the mouse. The jungle belonged to him now. And yet, he wanted more. One by one, the strongest animals vanished. The jungle grew quieter. Even the wind seemed afraid to rustle the trees. Until there was only one left. A single survivor. A cockroach named Greg. Now, Greg was not a hero. He was not strong. He had no claws, no venom, no plan. But he had one thing. Pure, dumb luck. 4 months, he had been hiding under rocks, under elephant toenails, even inside a crocodile's mouth. Greg did not recommend that last one. And now, he stood alone in the jungle. The mouse emerged from the darkness. Greg gulped. Hey there, big guy. I was just, leaving. Gotta get back to my, family. The mouse stared. Greg wiped his forehead. Oof. Is it hot here? Just me. All right. The mouse smiled. Greg screamed. But nothing happened. No hole in the ground. No army of mice. Just silence. Greg blinked. Wait. What? The mouse looked around. For the first time, he hesitated. Greg suddenly realized. There was no jungle left to rule. No lions. No hyenas. No elephants. Just him. And a jungle with no fear is no kingdom at all. Greg took a step forward. Hey, buddy, you okay? The mouse twitched. Then, for the first time ever, the mouse squeaked in fear and vanished into the darkness. Greg, still shaking, looked around. Wait, did I win? The jungle stayed silent. And then, the trees whispered. There must always be a king. Greg gulped. Oh no! A tiny golden crown landed on his head. Greg screamed. And so, the legend lived on. But this time, the jungle feared the cockroach.